Hello out there in TV land. It's once again, it's Council Checkup coming from Neepawa, Manitoba. I'm your host, Don Walmsley, and with us is our esteemed mayor.
Excellent.
Blake McCutcheon. Hi, Blake. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Not bad, thank you. Been a while, but we've had COVID in between and all sorts of other things, so good to see you back in the chair there.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
And so let's get started. Let's do, first of all, from council point of view. What's been happening the last couple of months of council?
Oh, gee, that's a pretty big question. Yeah, I mean, obviously the town has got so much going on right now, right? I mean, with all our construction going on and with our, there's just, I mean, that construction is such a big part of what's going on in our town right now. But otherwise, I mean, we always have bylaws we're looking at, and I mean, the summer's here now, right? So now the pool's getting reopened, and we're looking at...
Do you have an opening date for that?
June the 4th, I think.
Oh, that's exciting.
Well, I could be wrong. You have to go through your notes there.
Okay, I will. We've got notes to go through, some updates on what's happening in and around the town.
But you're right, we got our basketball courts and our
you're
pickleball courts, and we got some going out here on Crocus Drive.
Yeah, I remember ages ago saying that sort of was in the plan. They're going to close that off, make that into basketball courts accessible for anybody.
Yep.
Very good.
So I talked to Denis about that this morning just before I came over here, and he said, they're just moving forward on that. They want to get, they have to get some concrete poured to be able to put the basketball hoops in, obviously, and I think it's...
Tennis courts?
No, I was wrong about that. I did mention that, but no, it's just 2 basketball courts. And the reason they're doing just basketball courts is because no fencing. Right, there's no way they can fence out on Crocus Drive, right? So it's just going to be just for people.
We still are going to get tennis courts, though.
Absolutely, over here behind Hillcrest, right? And
okay.
Again, so maybe let's just do it in order, right? So construction-wise, so the first thing we were hoping for this year was Maple Leaf to show up, right? They weren't finished from last year.
Yeah.
So they actually were in town last week, and of course, unfortunately, and I think this is what you hear every year, they're behind already because of the weather, right? Weather's been disgusting, and they've been waiting on lots of projects. Anyhow, we are in the queue, and when they do get here, obviously one of their first priorities will be Davidson Street, which of course goes right by the Kin 2.
Yes.
They have to pave the basketball, not the basketball, the pickleball and tennis court behind Hillcrest there.
Okay.
They're going to go over, and they're going to do a layer on Commerce Street, which is something that people have been lobbying for quite a while.
Okay.
They're going to clean up the Yellowhead Arena corner there.
So
yes. They're going to be putting in curbs and stuff like that.
Oh,
right?
that's
so
wonderful.
It's just not willy-nilly there how you can go in and out. And then Denis got a long list of fix-ups.
What about out at CN property?
You know what? I lost track of that. They did a lot more last year than we thought they were going to do.
Okay.
So I'm not sure they have one last lift to do there or not. I'm not sure of that.
All right.
But yeah, so that is our top priority right away, of course, to get that done. And then Denis also got other projects on the go, like he wants to, maybe we'll just move to that. So in Denis' world this year, he wants to, we have, as a council, we've decided to go ahead and move forward on Eastview Lodge Phase 2. So, because we've sold the lots at the CN property, and then we've got 2 lots left now, I believe, on existing lots on the Eastview right now, but there is room for 11 more there.
Okay.
So Isabel Street will be extended. So it'll come past, I always, where they have the foundation house there, it'll come past there, and it'll do a 45, and it'll go back on to Tupper, past the swimming pool.
Oh.
So that, and then there'll be 11 lots in there. So I asked Denis where he's at, and he goes, well, like everything else, it's going to depend on the weather and depend on a lot of stuff, but he's hoping by this fall, we would be in a position to start saying, well, this lot would be for sale in the spring.
Okay.
So that'll be our last 11 lots that the town has the ability to develop, because after that we don't have anything in our holdings of our town property that we could move forward on. He wants to move forward on Mill Street, because Mill Street, he needs to get that ready for the new apartment block there. I think they're calling that, on the old Murray's property, I think they're calling that the Cameron apartment, I think.
Oh, right there, the one that's blocking my view now.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
But it's wonderful to see something come up. But
so anyway, we have to do a bunch of new water and sewer there.
Okay.
And what else? He had one more project he wanted to do, and maybe it'll come to me. Of course, we're sitting patiently waiting for the hospital, and I just want to make sure that people understand that, and I think the average person understands that now. This is out of our control.
Yeah,
know,
this decision has to be made by the government.
this has to be made by the
Provincial
government.
government has to make a statement before you can respond
Yes,
to it.
and but you know what? We would love it if they would have made that statement last week or last month, because we need to move forward with our infrastructure. So we're waiting for that, right? And as soon as that is announced, and I don't even want to say when, because we don't know anymore. So we're just going to say when it gets announced, then we'll be able to move forward with our infrastructure.
Last we talked a couple of things that were possible. There's a whole bunch of development just by the water tower out on that side.
Absolutely.
Where's that at?
Okay, we had the guy in the council. Actually, I missed the last council meeting. I just was under the weather a little bit. But the guy, I forget his name now, he was at the table. And he said he's shocked, because he said normally they're waiting for towns to make decisions. He says we're actually ahead of them. Like, we've already moved forward and laid out the position of the things they can do.
Yeah.
And he says we're not used to, working with a town that's been this good. So he was very happy about that. So yeah, you're right. They still on the table to do up to 100, 120 modular home lots, but they're still trying to decide whether they're going to. They can't make it. They haven't made a final decision on whether they're going to be a modular home park concept or a subdivision concept. Because if it's going to be a subdivision concept, then that changes everything. That changes your streets, and that changes just everything. But because then it's owned by the town, whereas the modular home park stays in their realm.
So the decision is, do we keep it under our and control it, or does it move over to a town and control certain things? We just have the land and are developing the land.
Yeah, and I think what they're having a struggle with is they're trying to decide whether people in our community want to own their land, or they're willing to not rent their land for the next 100 years like you do when you have a modular home on it, right?
Yeah.
And they're coming to terms with that, right?
So will they build some modular homes as well as allow people to bring modular homes on?
So the way it's going to work is they have everything runs through them. So they actually have 4 different manufacturers that they work with.
Yeah.
And but you have to buy from them.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, so they're going to build you a home.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't just bring something on
it would be
absolutely.
You know what?
And that will help with some continuity.
Yes, exactly.
And consistency, hopefully, in terms of building and things like that.
But they seem to have just slid off on that a little bit for the moment, because I think they're still working on that. But they've asked for, and we've already approved, that they can now build 2 24-unit apartment blocks. And if you visualize to the north of the trailer park, so right beside the government building there, if you can visualize that.
Okay, yeah.
So there's those empty lots in there that there was always room for future development for much. So anyhow, that has now been subdivided out so that they can build basically what Dimitri had, 2 3-story, 24-unit apartment blocks. And they seem to be more committed to that one right now.
So getting that up, so you've got apartments, because apartment rental has always been a premium here in this community.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're really hoping. So now, I mean, I'm really excited to be able to say that there's nothing. The town's not holding anything up. Everything's ready to go here. So the town is, they've signed off and everything, and as long as they hit the rules about water and sewer and streets, and everything's good to go. So the ball's back in their court now to go ahead and move forward. We sat with High Life last week or 2 weeks ago. And they're hoping to have their first of their, I call it the bunk houses out there. They're hoping to have their first one ready to go in July.
Yeah, I was just going to say, they're doing coming along with the build there.
Yeah, so there's 126, so 42, I guess each one is 42, so they're hoping to have one ready in July. And and it's interesting because the Lyle Lowen, who was representing at the table that day, he said they understand the need for housing in this town, and they have not said no to doing this again if they thought it was needed. So that was good news.
Wow.
So I mean, that's obviously going on. I mean, so I think that's it for the development right now.
A question?
Yeah.
So we got Home Hardware doing a build.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, 20,000 square feet going out there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice chunk, and it's right along Veterans Way.
Yeah, absolutely.
There, right?
Yeah, that's where you'll enter it from. Yeah.
The other thing is the hotel.
Right. Yes, that's right. How can I forget my Best Western? That's right. So that's all been signed off on and approved. And
when are they looking at?
They're talking about. They were hoping to be right about now, but of course with supply chains and everything else, they're hoping to get footings in this fall, and then be working through it over the winter.
No, perfect.
So they're still hoping about a year to have it ready to go. So
that'll be a nice
68 or 69. So I mean that's great news too, right?
So what? 68 rooms?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
and you couple that with the Bay Hill Inns, and suddenly
Yeah.
you've got the ability to
Yep.
really
Yeah.
bring
Yeah.
a conference
Yeah,
here.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's going to have the pool, which
Yeah.
they're really committed to, and that's really exciting too. Yeah, and so what else do we have going on? Denise doing? I think that's it for our construction side.
Now, your pool side, last time we talked about proposal, you're looking at it at some point up completely upgrading the entranceway, the
Yes.
bathrooms, that
Yeah.
kind of thing,
Yeah.
and adding a slide. Am I
Yeah,
correct?
that's correct. The slide's already been purchased, and
Wow.
yeah, it's already been bought. I don't know where it's at, but they obviously don't want to disturb this year's pool
Yeah.
schedule, so they're looking at that this fall. They're going to start working.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be lovely if we could consider an indoor one, but we've had this discussion before.
I know.
It's just cost prohibitive.
Yeah, no, it's
If you don't have a large enough base, when I
No.
heard how many swims had to go on
Yeah.
over a year to justify it, it's too bad. But
No, it's a
you know
money.
what? When it's open, and it's there.
No, you're right. It's unfortunate, and maybe somewhere down the road. And I mean, that's something we can talk about later, Don. I mean, that is, you know what? That infrastructure is now in place, right? I mean, it sounds like it's been going on forever, right? But it's kind of finally done, right? I mean, you've got the lagoon, you've got the water reservoir, you got the RCMP, you got the fire hall, you've got the main pipeline, sewer lines in. So really, the infrastructure of this town is now in place to grow. So we don't really need to spend a lot of money on anything now to grow to.
It's not like we're going to get caught out of hand
No.
because we got a sense now. We've
Yeah.
dealt with
Yeah.
rapid growth.
Yes.
We've got a sense of what to look for and be prepared for, and maybe plan ahead.
Yeah, no, we're really good that way. We can probably grow to 8,000 to 10,000 people now without too much more infrastructure. The only thing we're
me.
concerned about a little bit right now is the wells in the aquifer. And it's not like we need more water. It's just that because everything ages, we need the ability to shut some of our pumps down and just rebuild them and make sure they're working
Okay.
properly. So we're asking the government if we could have one more site, but
Just as a backup?
just as one that we could take offline
Yeah.
and so then run
Yeah.
it and then
Yeah.
put another
Yeah.
one offline. But these things are now between $800,000 and $1 million to do one of these things. Like I said to Colleen, how's that even possible? How can it be $1 million? But that's what it is. So.
That's amazing, isn't
So
it?
anyhow, that's the last piece of the puzzle there when it comes to the water. But once that's in place, yeah, we're pretty well. I mean, they're still talking about bringing water from Assiniboine. That's still not off the table, right? That's been discussed. I know High Life's even looked at that, right? Because it's at Arden, right? You can get water to Arden from the Assiniboine, right?
Well, and the thing is, when you look at High Life, simply because of the nature of their beast,
Yeah.
they require an incredible amount of water to operate.
Yeah.
And what they don't pull off of the residential system saves the residential system.
Absolutely. Yeah, and they were really good about it. They said, you know what, we kind of got lulled there because you guys are so good at what you do, never had any issues, and then we had this boiled water, and I mean that boiled water was a man-made boiled water because they were cutting a pipe. And
and that was just smart.
Yeah,
That was just
yeah.
smart.
So, but I mean, High Life said, okay, you know what? It's been 20 years. The last time we had a boil water, and that wasn't an advisory, that was an order. That was from 2002.
Gosh.
So, 20 years. So if
Yeah.
you only got a problem every 20 years, they're going, well, what are we worried about?
Okay.
But they're starting to understand now that, with the fact that they do take 50% of our water every day,
Yeah.
they're starting to understand that so they're actually now looking at the whole thing too, right? About how do they maybe need to build a water reservoir?
Yeah.
Do they need to do they need to figure out how to get water?
Well, it's certainly a big enough plant.
Oh, yeah. So
I mean, kudos to them and their growth. I mean, it's incredible. And
yeah.
It's quite an impact. So.
And High Life, they did. I mean, they're always very cautious about what they say, but I don't think they're finished growing yet. I mean, I still think they're still looking at doing more pigs every day, and so.
Well, and I think everything's on hold now because of the global situation.
Yes. Yeah.
And will be for a bit. So, but that may resolve itself. Who knows? I mean, it's one of those things that I don't think is going to.
No, I agree.
It's hard to envisage it being a long-term situation.
I
But who
hope not.
knows?
Yeah, who knows in this world we live in. Bike park, I mean, we had put in for some grants, and we've been given signals for a positive news, but I mean, we can never say for sure until we actually.
And what will you do with those grants? at Bike
We would
Park?
just finish up everything we promised we'd do it there. Like we would do probably playgrounds and
Wow.
camping, not camping, but buildings
Picnic.
that you could actually sit under and
Yeah, okay.
picnic at, and more trees, and so that's.
Nice.
again, like I said, you can never talk about it until actually it's announced by either the federal or provincial government, but we've been given positive signals, so that's a good thing.
Any more microsealing? How did your microsealing project work?
I don't know. I was pretty happy. You know what? I appreciate the problem with microsealing is you're still just covering the, if you've got a hill in the road, you still have a hill in the road, but it's still smoother. I don't think we're doing, I forgot to ask that of Denise this morning. I know we do have some money in the budget because he was talking about, the government of Manitoba handed out that extra pothole money. And I think that it broke down to $63,000 for the town of Neepawa. So we are going to put that money towards potholes.
You know where you've got huge potholes?
Go ahead, tell me.
On 3rd, as you go down to the fairgrounds.
Okay.
I mean, they're
okay.
Potholes.
I'm assuming Denise knows that, but I don't know that. But
I was just walking down that way the other night and thought, holy cow, somebody comes down here and doesn't recognize it.
I know.
They're going to burst a tire.
Lose the car, yeah. Okay.
It's and we got heavy traffic this weekend.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So I think that's it from a town point of view. Something else I wanted to tell you, but I can't remember what it is. Sorry.
4 months until election.
Yes, 4 months till election. That's right. Tick, tick. Yeah, those decisions are going to have to be made here right away, right? What people are. Councillors can, as of June the 1st, right? They can throw their name in the hat if they want.
Okay.
And mayors can already do that if they want. And I think a lot of us are still sitting, just deciding what we're going to do.
Well, it's been fast-paced, and I would suggest very productive 4 years.
Yeah, it's funny. You kind of just got swept along with it, right? It wasn't like you were leading a lot of the time. Like really, a lot of the time you were just part of it, right? Because there was just so much stuff. You're right, with the pandemic and then with the growth.
Oh, that threw a ringer into everybody.
And the growth of the town and just it just became I still think the vision was there. The vision was there. The vision's always been there for the infrastructure.
Yeah.
And that vision got taken care of. But that's where I was going to go. I was going to say, Don, and I don't know if you want to talk about that now, but I think that's the next part of the vision, and whether I'm part of that next council or there's new people on council, that is going to be the next big thing this town has to come to terms with.
Okay,
and
so let's talk about that.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be, two things. It's going to be recreation, right?
Yeah.
Because we're going to have to make a decision. We got aging facilities with the Yellowhead Arena and the curling rink and a lot of towns, whether you be Dauphin or Swan River or Portage, these guys have done a great job of building these. Or Verdun, they've built these big facilities, right? And that's something the town's going to have to start talking about. And where are they going to build it?
Now, in those places, though, the town owns the facilities,
Absolutely,
correct?
yeah.
It's not private ownership
No,
like here.
and that will occur. That's going to have to occur here, Don. I think that's not a question of if. I think and that's just me talking.
Okay.
I think it's a question of when. These projects are way too big now for.
Well, when you look at, you got a converted salt mine.
Yes.
And that's lasted a long time.
A very long time.
And you're now looking, and so many things have changed in terms of expectations. Like, what does it cost to exchange that heating plant, for example, or that cooling plant?
If you had to put in a new cooling plant, we're talking millions. So
That's crazy,
how could you pour a million? I'm not saying. I guess maybe you could do it and then move it. I don't know, but everybody's got their fingers crossed, right, that it'll last a little bit longer. But you know what? But again, that brings and I don't even know how that's going to happen. This is a big issue. I said in some respects, you're right. This has been a really interesting 4 years, and we've done a lot of stuff. But I've told the council that this next 4 years, I think, has the ability to be much more challenging, just because we are now a town that's going to be half new citizens.
Yes.
So now they're bringing a whole different flavor of what they want to our community too, right? Yeah. That's a decision that's going to be tough to make, right? Because the way we've been structured, right, with playing hockey and soccer and baseball and curling and golfing, and now you've got a town that has half a town that's got a different look on recreation.
Well, look
right?
what's happened with the biking.
Yes, yeah.
Example, basketball.
Yeah, basketball, I know.
Two things. I think slowly we're starting to see some, for example, the skating and that kind of thing. It takes time.
Yeah, it takes time, yeah.
But I think you're quite right. it is going to flavor going
Yeah,
forward.
and it's going to be that's going to have to be some, I mean, our rec study showed, right, that,
Yes. Well, the
the-
hiking trails, biking, all of that kind of
Yeah.
stuff came up in that survey.
right up in the top.
And that was what, 4 years ago? It
Yep,
was before COVID. It
That
had
was
to be
before,
four-
yeah.
4
That
or
was
5
just when
years
we were
ago.
coming on stream in 18. So yeah,
Okay.
no, I know. And so I think that's a really big one for the council to look at. I think the next one is education, right? I think again, we have the hospital coming, and I mean that's great. But I mean at the end of the day, again, that's fairly black and white. I mean they're going to build it, and then we just have to figure out how to staff it. And well, not us, but the province is going to figure out how to get nurses.
Well, that's
and
going to be the biggest challenge. My concern is let's not wait. We should be planning now.
Absolutely.
We
and
have only 3 years, theoretically, when it's ready to open.
and that goes back to the education piece of that.
And that goes, we need to have the ability to staff. And we're struggling now all the way across the board
No,
here
I
in
know.
Manitoba. It's
I
not
know.
just simply Neepawa, but everywhere
Yep.
they're struggling. And I'm sorry to say, but our departments of health need to have a better plan.
I know.
And enough pontificating.
I know.
Let's just get down and dirty. What are the brass tacks? What do we need? How do we go about getting it?
No, I agree. No, I don't disagree with you at all. And I just don't know how they're going to fix that. But I know all we can do is control our own little piece of the
Yes,
the
yes.
postage stamp here. But we know that education. We already know that we sat with Superintendent Jason Young the other day, and he already said that they will be back to using all their huts this fall. Right. So
I know just when we thought
Yeah.
there was that small window of time
yeah.
where they were available and looking at creative use or sending them back, and that disappeared
Yeah.
in a flash.
Exactly. So.
It didn't take long.
And settlement services, well, from your point of view, people are still coming into the community. I'm getting ready to talk to some new citizens next week for the first time live in 2 years. They're actually going to be coming back, we're going to be able to visit with them.
But
so.
that stream's not stopping.
No, it's not stopping.
And
Exactly.
it's not stopping. It's not just here. It's not stopping everywhere.
I know.
Yeah.
So that's going to be another big part of the council's decision, right? So any money that they are thinking of saving, borrowing, putting into reserves, they're going to have to decide where that money's going to go, right?
Yeah.
Like, is it going to go, as you say, if it's going to be education, if it's going to be for some type of nursing, or if it's going to be for truck drivers or water treatment operators. I mean, the town of Neepawa has been promoting for years that they would love to be a training center for any or all of the
Yes.
above, right?
Yes.
And but if that's going to occur, then we would need a building, and then we probably wouldn't even need much space for people to come in. We probably have enough people living in the community that would actually go to it, right?
Within the community and surrounding areas. And remember, we got a tremendous number of high school grads now
Yeah.
who, instead of going to Brandon, for example,
Yeah.
or Portage or Winnipeg,
Yeah.
if they could actually take their training here,
Yeah.
you're more likely to see more stay
Yeah.
and work here. You're
I
going to
agree.
see some go. I think that will be.
Well, I
pretty-
really think the pandemic has pinpointed that a lot of people have realized. Yeah, I like my small community. I don't really want to go back to the big city, right? I like living in a small community.
Well,
right?
I forget who I was talking to, but they were talking about how safe Neepawa still is as a community.
I know.
Walking in the evening,
Yep.
going around.
Yep.
And you must remember that the newcomers coming in, they were young families. We've
Yes.
got young children.
I know.
So our needs within the healthcare system, we also have that really upper end, the retirement population. Where
And again,
needs
that's
are
going to be a big problem. Not a big problem, but it's going to be something to deal with, right? Because you're right. Once that hospital gets built, a lot of people who are going, well, I think I'm going to retire outside of Neepawa. I'm going to go to Brandon, or I'm going to go.
Yeah.
They're going to stay now.
Well, when you have a facility that can look after you, because as you and I both know, as you get older, you have probably more needs than when you were younger.
Absolutely, that's the way the world works.
And it just is.
And where are they going to live? Like, that's the other problem. We need to start looking at some type of. The Kinsman Plus has been great. I heard Grant Lucan say the other day they're 50% full in 6 months. I mean, that's just outstanding on their part to be that full
Excellent.
that quick. But
But we do have private land around, or is the town looking at the possibility of extending its boundaries?
well, and that again, okay, and I agree with that. I said that's going to be the challenge of the next council. We've been able to not ever start throwing words around like expropriation
Yeah.
or annexing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And those are the words that are death knells, right? Because everybody rises up and goes,
Panics.
yes. But those are decisions that are going to have to be discussed here at some point. You're right. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, yeah, that's the way the world works. Yeah.
Well, I think they've done the smart thing and that's maximize the use of what they've got now.
Yep.
But once that's done, and you need the ability to grow, then that becomes a more legitimate concept or avenue to consider. Saying we have no other place. It's not like we can't fill in here and fill in there.
I know.
We filled in there.
I know.
It's now we need to have the ability to go further.
I agree.
Yeah.
No, like I said, it's going to be. It's exciting, but there's some, yeah. I mean, you got to. I mean, these are. I keep going back to the councils, right? I mean, people go, well, you know, you ran for it and you want to do those jobs, but they're big jobs, and you know, I have so much respect for the people.
Do you have a list, an accomplishment list that you guys have done over the past 4 years?
No, every year we kind of put a list together just to kind of summarize on ourselves. But yeah, we've never done a 4-year list. No, I don't.
I would be intrigued to see what's happened from the time the new council came into being till just before it left, the kinds of things that have done. Yeah. We know, we've spoken about this before, a lot of the groundwork with some of these things has been laid by previous councils. Nobody's taking anything away from that. But you've been able to actually implement and affect a lot. I think it would be interesting for the public to know. Print a list of, just so you're aware, year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, these are what we were able to accomplish. Because people, we're human beings. Unless we're keeping our own tally, we don't see that. We forget that.
Well, I mean, we sit here and I'm just going through my head when you say that, right? I mean, we started with the cemetery, right? Which seems like not just 4 years ago, right? But that's where we started, right? We started with the cemetery and the change, how that occurred. I mean, you forget that we had the 1 in a 1,000-year rain event, July the 1st.
Oh, gosh.
You know, so now you got Park Lake and you got, you know, $250,000 spent on berms around parts of our town.
And then, and that, keep that thought, but I'm going to slip because it raised a thought with me. Park Lake, how's that going in terms of?
And I did ask Denise before I came over here. So Denise says like everything's in order to start that bridge going across to the bird sanctuary there. But of course, with the weather, everything's just kind of a holding pattern. But that'll move forward. And we keep being told it's about a year. Once they get underway, the whole project is a year. Because once you get by the actual building of the bridge and the rebuilding of the dam, it's basically moving dirt. So, you know, they're still pretty comfortable that they'll have it done in the next year.
So by next year.
That's what they're saying. By this.
So by moving dirt, are they cleaning out some of the sludge?
They can do it. Okay. And again, I think I've mentioned this before, Don, because I know it's a question.
What they can do.
Yeah, exactly. They can only take it to where it was. So the rules of the disaster relief fund are bring it back to where it was. So if the town of Neepawa said, well, we'd like to dig it another 50 feet deeper, they said that's great, and it's your $1 million. So the money that they have given to us can only take it back to what it was. So
can you change the substrate? Like, can you make it more gravelly or rocky as opposed?
No, that's a good question. I've never been asked that. I guess what it really comes down to is, if you believe all the experts, this can never be a freshwater lake in terms of having fish in it.
No.
Like the water doesn't flow enough through it, right? So it's going to be more of a nature, yes. And I think people just have to accept that.
And I think actually I know a lot of people just miss it. We miss the birds.
And
that's
agree.
what it was. Maybe you could throw a canoe on it.
Yeah, they're going to do that. They're actually going to try and clean out a couple of the edges, just enough so that you can, get some.
But that's all. No fishing. No, nothing else. No. And I the fact that so many birds missed those over the past couple of years.
I know.
Especially springtime and fall, when they're flocking and they're in, and it's just a really nice place to go, and it adds to the whole flavor of Rotary Park.
And it will be back. So that's good, but you're right. I mean, you're right. You start going through your 4 years. I mean, you had so much going on. Like, I mean, who can forget that we had a 1 in a 1,000-year rain event? But we did, right? And I mean,
and then look what's happened. Although this isn't as much, the way it's come down and the snowfall. Look at poor Minnedosa.
Oh, I know.
Good Lord.
Yeah, I
saw some town vehicles over there.
Yeah, that was good. I was just going to mention that. I was going to say, you know what, good for our town. So Colleen, we just talked quickly, and she said we should send our summer staff there, right?
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, the council and the towns, and of course we are. So they went there for 3 or 4 days, and they helped out.
Oh, that's wonderful. But that's what small towns are good for. We had people come from Minnedosa to help us.
Yes, absolutely.
Of course, they had some stuff too. We were lucky. We had a larger population to draw from, but you help each other.
And then, of course, they have a brand new CEO there. I'm sorry, I can't think of his name right now. Anyhow, he phoned and he said, Colleen, I know you have a really good understanding of this disaster relief fund, how it works and all that. So Colleen went down there and spent a day with him and
Excellent.
and laid out how you apply for it and what you do.
That's
and what
good
you
neighbors.
Don't. Yeah.
Why not?
Yes.
Why would you
Yeah.
not do
No,
that?
exactly.
Well done.
I know.
Well
So
done.
anyhow, good for
That's a
them.
job.
But yeah, I mean, Murray's got Murray Parrott, our councillor Parrott. He's got condos in Minnedosa, right? And he's taken pictures of double sandbags right there where his units are, and it's yeah. You know what? This is the same. You know, it's now that the water's through. Now it's the mess behind, right?
Oh, always.
I know.
Always.
So anyhow, no, I feel bad for Minnedosa because exactly 2 years ago we were identical. We had exactly the same amount of water they had, but for whatever reason this year the White Mud didn't get what little
isn't that
Saskatchewan
interesting?
got.
No, the
I
little
know.
Saskatchewan got
I know.
hammered.
I know. So
I mean, hopefully it bodes well for the summer. There'll be water in around Minnedosa in
I know.
their little
I know.
lakeish area there. But
So yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, it's what you just said there a few minutes ago is true, though, right? We're 4 months away from a new election, and that's right. I mean, you think, where did those 4 years go, right?
so when we talk about government and we talk about statements and public statements, how about the gasifier out at the
Our famous gasifier.
our famous gasifier? How's it doing? How's all that?
You know what?
gas?
We are now. Okay, I just sat at a meeting, Don. So we had to bring in a firm from Northern Ontario to license it because they've never licensed one in Manitoba. We were the first.
Okay.
And then it got passed up to the provincial government, and they were figuring out the rules they would build to say yes, it is licensed. And we're now down to the residue. So originally, when you burn all this stuff in a gasifier,
Yeah.
not burn, vaporize. When you vaporize this stuff, you'll when you open up the doors after it's all over, you'll still have a Coke can in there, you'll have a piece of metal, but there is actually sediment, right? And then now they're trying to decide whether that is something that needs to be treated more hazardous than normal. So we thought we could just take it, whatever it was, and put it in the landfill. And they're saying maybe, maybe not. So now they're trying to decide whether maybe it needs to go into a barrel before it goes into the landfill.
What would it do in the barrel that it doesn't do in the landfill?
That was
okay. So it's going to the landfill, but it's got to go in a barrel first.
So that's kind of where we're at right now. So it's been a frustrating process, and I don't want to badmouth any level of government, Don, because everybody does the best.
Well, it's
they
brand
can.
new, right?
Yes,
Everybody's
yes,
sort of
yeah.
is new, and everybody's afraid of new territory
yeah.
because we're making decisions. What if we make the wrong one? Well, you're human beings. You're going to make some wrong decisions.
Yeah.
Just suck it up, move forward, amend as you go along.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
what
I mean,
can you
that
do?
you know what? That's an interesting. Even talking about Evergreen for a minute, that is interesting because when it was built, it's over 20 years ago now. It was built on the premise that it would be good for almost 100 years. And of course, at that time, I mean, they were projecting Neepawa at that time had a population of 3,300 people, and High Life was not a very big player. And we are now on our third cell out there, and each cell is filling more quickly. So
I can believe it.
Yes, and it's just not Neepawa. It's like, don't forget, there's 6 partners there, right? We have Elton, we have Minnedosa, we have North Cyprus, we have Minto-Odana, we have ourselves. So, and you look at every year, you look at the statistics, and every year, every one of those areas is bringing more refuge. So that's a discussion that's going to have to occur here sooner than later too. That 90 years is more like 50 years now.
So how large is that area actually?
They projected that it could hold 9 cells.
So how big? How many acres?
I would think it's right around a half section.
Half section. Okay.
But I got to go back to the cells, right? Because of the contour of the land and this and that.
Yes,
There's so many places you can build. So they always believed they could do 9 cells. So we're at our 3rd cell. But first cell took over 10 years to fill. Second cell took under 10 years to fill. Third cell, they're looking at maybe 5 to 7 years. So if you kind of project it out as you go down the road, right? So again, that's going to be a big, and again, take it back to the gasifier, right? I mean, if we could actually get that on stream, and I mean, I know it's not a very big one, but I mean, it was just a prototype, and you can build it as big as you want, or you can build as many as you want, and
if it starts minimizing
Yes.
that, bringing it back to that longevity, again, it's thinking ahead.
Absolutely.
It's like the German technology, or whatever technology it was, it still blows me away with the water treatment.
Yes.
One cell.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
Denise, so if our population raises by 1,000 people, what do?
Yeah.
You throw in more.
Yeah, we throw in more honeycombs.
Yeah.
I know. No, it's a great idea. No. And I think that's one thing I did learn on council is you're always building, anything you're doing today is also based on how that will be affected 4 or 5 years down the road.
Yes, you can't just build for today.
Yeah.
You have to build for
Yeah.
tomorrow,
Yeah.
and several tomorrows.
Yeah.
Well, and the way we're looking at it, and the way Canada's changing right across the board with newcomers coming in, and certainly certain communities, you can look in the south like Morden, Winkler, Steinbach, other areas. Portage not so much, but Brandon, and certainly Neepawa, and even starting to be in the north. More and more newcomers are coming in, settling, becoming Canadians, and doing that thing. So the numbers are increasing.
Oh, absolutely.
It's actually, we're seeing a bit of a trend towards people wanting to come outside of the urban centers.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
And if we have the employment opportunities and the housing, people will come, and that's not going to stop.
No, I agree. And like I said, that's where I've argued that before, that we need to, and I know it's not going to happen anytime soon, but at some point towns are going to have to make a decision that councils are worth more than $600 a month to sit on a council table.
Well,
right? At some point you're going to have to say you can't be just a volunteer. I'm not sure how that's going to work, Don. I don't have the answer to that at all. But it's,
I think what I think we found this past 4 years in talking to a variety of members involved in the council or town people, getting a sense of the work behind the scenes, I think adds a little more understanding on the part of the public.
Yeah.
With regards to what really does happen. You don't just sit there
No.
and sit at a meeting, say yay, nay, and whatever.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of work going on. And that's why I thought maybe a 4-year list of what actually did you accomplish?
Yeah.
What did you start? What did you finish? What did you,
Yeah.
all those kinds of things would be a really good testimony to say, there was work. You maybe didn't see it, but
Yeah.
this is what
Yeah.
we did.
No, like I said, I'm not the right person to ask, because a lot of people that sit at that council table have done it. They worked their way through it, right? Like a guy like a Murray Parrott or something like that. They've been there for such a long period of time, and we're a very unusual council that we're all brand new, right? Most of us are just in our first 4 years, right? So that's quite a difference. It took us a while to get up to speed, and it'd be interesting. This will be an interesting time to see how many people go, well, I really like my 4 years, and I want to run again, or a lot of people are going to go, whoa, that was a lot more than I thought, because unfortunately, everybody at our council table, except for Murray and myself, and even Murray's got a ton of stuff on his plate. They've got jobs, right?
Jobs as well, yeah.
So yeah, I know. That's something that I don't think I really understood. How much?
What kind of workload?
Yes.
What kind of expectations?
Yeah, expectations
Well,
a good word. Yeah.
And I guess expectations, if you follow through in your commitments,
Yeah.
there's work involved.
Yeah.
If you don't follow through,
Yeah.
it may not be as much work, right?
No, I agree. That goes back to vision, right? You've got to have that vision, and then you're right. You got to have the work ethic to say, okay, we've got the right vision. Now we got to put the work in to get there, right?
Yeah. I'm going to talk about an event that we just had last weekend,
Okay,
and I'm going to go to this. And as any of you know who live in Neepawa, and maybe people who are aware of people who live in Neepawa, last weekend what we did was we did the hookup to an additional reserve of town water. This had been in plans for a long time, and this is actual hookup time. So I got a little thank you that came from the town itself. I'm just going to read it out. Thank you. On Friday, May 20th, we required all water users to reduce usage while we connected to our new reservoir, doubling our treated water capacity. This is the reservoir capacity that in case something fails, the pumps fail to bring in the water, we've got reserve in the tank for Neepawa to continue to operate and have water to drink and use.
Yeah,
and that
big
kind of
fire
thing.
or something.
Yeah.
Yep.
Our community went above and beyond to ensure they limited their water usage for the day, keeping water available for emergency use. The immediate cooperation and support was overwhelming. They wanted to recognize some of the large volume users, which is very important. Some of them you may not recognize, some of you will. High Life, 3D's Car Wash, Neepawa Gladstone Co-op Car Wash, Neepawa Laundromat, Stella Jones, as they ceased operations for the day. That was nicely done. Restaurants, hotels, and other businesses for bringing in water and ensuring they limited usage to essential only on a busy weekend. Prairie Mountain Health and Beautiful Plains School Division, and you, our residents of Neepawa, for your cooperation, patience, and understanding. When we work together, we grow together. It's quite right. Everybody sort of pulls together and does all that kind of thing. Quite an achievement. I mean, we loaded up water, and when you start not having things, you sort of say, gee.
That's funny. I talked to a lot of people that said, well, I put away this jug of water. I filled up this sink, and they went, like, we were out and within 2 hours. Like, they went, like, what the heck?
Oh, no, we filled up several jugs, just to make sure.
I know.
And watch,
Yeah.
What we did. It became a very odoriferous household.
I know.
Another piece of news from our rec department, day camps, July and August, Monday to Friday, and all those weeks.
Okay. Yep.
And registration begins mid-June.
Okay.
Now, you don't have here, is this with the rec department?
Yes.
So contact Nicole at the rec department?
Yeah, Nicole, yep.
So just call the town office, ask for Nicole. Day camps. Now, day camps, these aren't for people like you and I.
No.
These are for little people,
Yes,
right?
that's right. Yeah.
So there's an opportunity. We typically have a history of running some pretty good day camps for young people during the summer. So if you're interested, simply call the town office, ask for Nicole at the rec department, and take it from there. Okay?
Right.
So I've got a number of these. It's quite exciting.
Yes, I know.
Actually.
I brought you a whole list.
Okay, what else have I got?
Well, here, let's go in order. So
Okay.
this is, where's the one where's our, here we go. This is this weekend,
Okay.
right? Yeah.
This weekend, Neepawa District Chamber of Commerce, the 7th Annual Chamber Fair, the 27th, 28th, 29th in Neepawa. So, wow, quite a list of events. So Friday, we have Midway and food trucks open, Neepawa Gardens Club's huge plant sale, and that's a mile east on Highway 16. That's at Glenda and Joe McPhee's place,
Yes.
right? A mile south on Road 86 North. You can get it in directions in the pamphlet. And 4 to 6 p.m., Neepawa Library story time and activities. So we're going to have food trucks. We're going to have High Life Food Trailer, delicious, wholesome food made from Manitoba pork. The Hatch, one-of-a-kind gourmet soups and handcrafted sandwiches. Oh, that's interesting. Emotions and Tea, locally made milk and bubble teas in a wide assortment of flavors. That was one of the things that one of our, what's the big idea?
Yep, exactly.
Excellent.
Yep.
Saturday, the ubiquitous pancake breakfast in Neepawa at the Neepawa Rifle Range Club, right on the site where the fair is going to be. Always a good thing, the pancake breakfast. And, okay, for all you garages, 8 to 2 on Saturday, 8 in the morning to 2 p.m., town-wide garage sales. Now, I must give you a warning or an element of caution. Simply because a house has its garage door open and is cleaning does not mean it's selling things. I had somebody approach and said, is that snowblower for sale? So not every open garage is a garage sale. But town-wide garage sales are just wonderful. They're a lot of fun. From 9 a.m. in the morning to 2 p.m., we have the book sale at the Margaret Lawrence home. Really good. If you've never been there, that's great, and you should go. There'll be a book sale. Neepawa Garden Club's huge plant sale again, same directions. And to be determined, there's a slow pitch tournament.
Sorry, I didn't know that. So, okay. Yeah.
And those are a lot of fun. If you like baseball and you like it at a speed that when you're a little bit older, you can appreciate. And there's food trucks around, great things. Typical Manitoba summer fair event going way back.
I know that's true. That is
How
true,
many decades? And at 12 p.m., Beer garden, I was going to say it looked like beef garden, but the beer garden's open.
That's good. Yeah.
And also the Midway and food truck's open. So on Saturday at 12, that's what happens. From 12 to 4, now this is getting to be a common event with our fair. The Yellowhead Roadrunners and Auto Club show, and Shine, car show, all vehicles welcome. Just a real treat to walk around and talk with the owners and take a look at some really fine specimens of some rare and fond vehicles. So well worth the checkout. 12 to 4, there's a small animal fair, pony rides, and again, Neepawa Library story time and activities, face painting. I'm going to recommend that every single counselor should go and get their face painted.
I'll mention it.
Be part of that. You mention it.
I'll mention it. Okay.
1 to 4. Here's something that's fairly new to the fair. Really going to be attributable to our newcomers, but is really a blast. Karaoke at Arts Forward.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of fun. 1 to 5. Old time dance and dinner at the Legion Hall. The tickets for dance and roast beef dinner. Oh, they always do a good dinner at the Legion.
Yeah, absolutely.
$30. Go to the Legion Club Room where you can have a cold beer, or by calling Lyle at a number on here. You need proof of vaccination, that's all. 8 to 1 a.m., a social evening. Music by the Clubbing Fraggles. That's interesting. And the beer is sponsored by Farmery Estate Brewery, our local famous brewery. No minors allowed. Please drink responsibly. Sunday, again at 12, Midway Food and Trucks open. Don't forget to purchase your 50/50 tickets. And they're available at the town office, Harris Pharmacy, Christensen, TDS, and Gill, and Schmall insurance agencies. $10 a square, and the winner will be announced on May 30th, Monday at 10 a.m. So that's kind of cool. Lots of good sponsors. So pick up one of these. It gives you a fairly decent guideline. Fairs, summer fairs in Manitoba, actually across Canada, are often a real good thing.
They are, I agree.
I go long enough back where they were still doing the jam contests, the baking contest, who made the best apple pies, who made the, small town Manitoba.
Yeah, we did that in Carbon too.
Tons of, everybody tried to match Mrs. McQuackle's famous lemon meringue pie, and how did she get the lemon meringue pie like that?
Yeah, that's true, isn't it?
It even had best calf.
Yeah, I was in the 4-H calf club. Yeah.
You know what? It's lots of fun. Lots of fun. Something else?
I think that just says there that the pool does open on June the 4th. Yeah.
June the 4th, pool opening.
And then these you can just pick up the brochures for the pool and for the campground.
Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Looks really good. Just pick them up. Lots here. And remember, we are going to next year have something different. Check it out. Okay.
And of course, Heritage Month is coming this. I'm sure I went to the one in 18.
Yep. Just before COVID.
19. It must have been 19.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it
19.
was the very first one because that was the very first year the provincial government announced that June is Filipino Heritage Month.
So they're back this year.
They are back this year with a vengeance. I know I've got some folks involved in that. It's looking at local heritage, the seeds of Filipino culture, because that's become a very prominent newcomer culture here in town. Assembly time, there's going to be a parade, a walk parade.
Yep.
1 p.m. It's assembly at the Yellowhead. The parade starts at 2 and the program starts at 3. It's on Saturday, June the 18th. Come and celebrate with us. Let us fill your day with Filipino food, music, dance, and games. Bring your own lawn chair. Riverbend Park. There's contacts here at the bottom of this. Can you send us something so we can put this on?
Sure, absolutely.
Make sure it's all posted. So it's a fun day. When the first one planned for 600, I think we ended up 500, and we ended up with 12.
And this year they're planning for 2,000.
Yeah, and now that people know about it, because last time, the first time they did it, we had people come from Dauphin. There were people coming from Winnipeg, and I think even more so now.
Yeah.
It's Riverbend Park is such a nice place to get together.
No, and they came to the town, and they were very good. They just said if the town there's anything we could do, we could help, and the council talked about it, and we kind of treated it like back in the days of the Lily Festival, where the town said, you know what, you guys are. I mean, you're going to feed 2,000 people. So anyhow, we've given them. We based it on $1 a person, so we gave them $2,000 worth of seed money. And
that's wonderful.
Yeah, so that and they're so happy to have that, right?
Oh, that was amazing. Because I think the last one,
it was all on their own.
It was all on their own. They're just so excited to do it.
Yeah.
And that's wonderful. Again, small communities. I'm sorry, I'm on a bit of a bandwagon today.
Okay.
But small community living is worth considering.
Yeah.
Lots of good things. Lots of good things. And
I know this one's a little ways away yet, but this is the last.
No, we've missed it for how many? What, 2 full years now?
Yeah, 2 full years.
So, as always, July 1st, 2022, from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Riverbend Park, Neepawa, celebrate Canada Day. So, here's what's happening in Riverbend Park. And this poster's lovely. It's got a nice picture. Was that a drone?
It had to be, yeah. That had to be.
128, public swim at Neepawa swimming pool. With 1 to 1:30, a scavenger hunt. You can pick up maps at the Riverbend. 3 o'clock, the scavenger hunt prize is awarded. 3 p.m. are the opening ceremonies for Canada Day. Canadian Air Division flyover. What are they flying over? You know what the planes are?
No, I do not know that, sorry.
3 to 7, children's bouncy You're not allowed to go on this.
Okay.
Children's bouncy inflatables. Children's bubble lab. Face painting. Again, I suggest the counselors go. Reptile gardens.
Oh.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
okay.
I was going to make a facetious comment about that, and I decided not to.
Left it alone. Okay.
Yeah. giant games and other activities. Expecting some big people coming.
I guess, obviously.
3 to 9, there will be a canteen with hot dogs, hamburgers, ice cream treats available. Fundraising by Cats TNR Rescue. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Local club. 4:30, Canada Day cupcakes. Those are not weapons for a food fight. Those are actually consumables. 5 p.m., live bubble show with Ryan Price. A live bubble show, that would be interesting.
I know. It's got some neat things there.
7 to 9, live music by Lunch Money. That's a local band.
Yep.
7 to 10, family bonfire works and marshmallows. Family bonfire.
Right.
And marshmallows. Oh, great. 7 to 10. And then at dusk, fireworks. That's a nice schedule for...
Isn't that great?
You know, it's just wonderful to be back.
And they're going to roll, so they had a little bit of money they hadn't used from the winter thing. They had $2,500 there. So they rolled that into their $7,500. So they actually have $10,000 worth of fireworks.
Ooh, wow.
So that'll be,
I'm hoping that it's a decent day.
Yeah, me too.
The last one we had there was a really nice day.
It was, I know.
Really nice day.
So. Yeah, no, it's so.
And here's something that you should get, the Riverbend Campground. Now, are these just at the town office? Or
I should have asked that. I should have asked that. I don't know that.
Because that would be something good to know, because there's a lot of information here.
I know, there's a ton of information
This talks about the rules and regulations, checkout time, quiet time, how to stay a while, what the costs are, weekly, daily, electric water, full service, the washroom code. There's a Wi-Fi password. Wheelbarrow full of wood you can get for $10. There's picnic tables, fire pits, cooktops, modern clean washrooms, sewage disposal, playground, 9-hole disc golf. Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
Of course, by the swimming pool and very close to the 18-hole golf course. If you've never played Neepawa, you're a golfer. You should do. It's rated as one of the top courses in Manitoba, so it's worth going to.
Yep.
I hear that from a lot of people.
I know. I'm not a golfer, but you're right. People just love that course. Yep.
So, wow, quite a lot of stuff. It sounds like summer again. It sounds like planning for a summer where we can get out and do things. And I think a lot of people are looking for things to do around home, close to home.
I should just quickly mention, and you're right,
Please.
that's all great stuff. We actually had 8 cabinet ministers here. When did they come? I'm sorry, I can't think. It was right at the
Two-
beginning of May. But
Not-
yeah, anyhow.
Not last week, the week before.
Yeah, okay. And I was just thinking, that's the one thing I did say to them, and like, you always get to just talk a little bit. I mean, it was, so I told them I could stand up there for a long time and talk about Neepawa. But the one thing I did say at the end was, right, I really like, and and then maybe it's not our place to tell governments, but I mean, we do vote them in.
Yeah.
I said, I do like the way we're exiting the pandemic. I like the way that they have made a decision to say to us, it's your decision. If you don't feel comfortable, you wear your mask, you don't have to go out in public, you can still, do what you feel comfortable with. But on the other side now, if you want to exit the pandemic, you're more than welcome to, right? And I just like the fact that they've taken away all the most of the rules now,
Yeah.
right? I think it's the right decision. I think it's just time for us to get back to, as you say, enjoying summer, right? And then people say, what about this winter? And I'll say, you know what, let's worry about winter when it gets here, right?
Well, and I think we have to start doing that as opposed to, I know that a lot of the reaction in the pandemic has been reactive.
Yes.
And then they've tried to plan ahead, but so many unknowns.
Yes.
We've been down this route before. We've had a major pandemic to deal with. Now, the next pandemic may be different, but it's a pandemic.
Yep.
So we have a sense of what worked, what didn't work, what
Yep.
are we looking at.
Yep.
Perhaps more indicators to look at. Where should we go?
Yeah.
We need to get back to some sense of normal.
I
It's
agree.
never going to be quite the same.
No, it's never going to be quite the same. No.
We're going to continue. We'll probably have COVID vaccines the same way as we have the
Yep.
flu
Absolutely.
or whatever.
No, I agree with you. No, I like the fact that people are getting back to. I mean, we just have to, right? It's time to move on.
Well, we were fortunate in this community,
Yes.
and to some extent in this area. We didn't see a lot of business closures.
No, we were actually.
People kept their jobs. Not a lot of people, comparatively speaking,
No.
to other jurisdictions,
No, I agree.
kept their jobs. We were able to keep normal in that regard.
Yeah.
And that certainly helped.
Well, and we've actually talked about that at the council table, Don. The fact that all these projects that we're talking about in the town of Neepawa occurred during the pandemic. I mean, like,
True enough, yes.
they were all being built, right? They were all being developed, right? I mean, whether it be the CN property or the RCMP or the
It
water
kept going,
reservoir,
yeah.
everything just kept.
Well, look at all those. When you think about it, all those bills are still built under COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I agree. No. It's been an interesting. You're right. We're coming into the summer. You and I'll have one more council chat here in June, and then in July and August, and then tick tick, eh?
Wow. When I think of the very first one we had.
I know.
Welcome. How are you doing? Well, I'm not sure. I'm a little bit apprehensive.
I know.
Well,
I know, it's
we'll
a-
see. I'm looking forward to it now.
I know.
Now you're jaded. Now you've
Yeah,
been in the seat for a while.
Yeah,
It's
so true. Right?
yeah. It's been quite an interesting 4 years.
I know.
As was the previous 4 years. I mean, they all have their own flavor, but I
Yeah.
think we've really seen. Okay, we need to be planning 10, 20, 30
That's
years
exactly
ahead.
right. Yep.
We can't, for so long, well, for 70 years, the population remained the same.
It's basically 3,300.
So
yeah,
why would
yeah.
you make too many changes?
Yeah.
Because we're fine here, we're
Yeah.
in that groove, and now that's all changed. And
I know.
I don't see that stopping anytime soon. So.
No, I don't either.
So anyway, we've come to the end, unless you
Okay.
have some final words.
No.
Any final words?
No, I don't. Yeah, no. I said I'm like you. I'm just looking forward to having summer after the winter we had with all the snow, and then we've had a ton of rain, and it would just be so nice to get underway with the sun, right?
Oh,
And
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So.
Well, then thank you, Blake, for coming here. And so on behalf of Blake and myself, thank you for tuning in and watching. Tune in again to Council Checkup. Again, if you have any questions you would like me to raise before whoever sits in these chair or chairs, please let us know. Call the station, put them down. I'll be happy to present those questions to them and get some feedback. Otherwise, have a great day and enjoy the rest of May until we see you again in June. Enjoy the sunshine. Get out, mow a lawn, barbecue something in sunshine as opposed to snowflakes. It's all good. It's all good, people. Have a great day, and thanks for tuning in. Bye for now.